Hey there, everybody, this is Ray Carsillo here with EGM. I have the distinct pleasure now talking with John Wendl, who, of course, is a member of the team working on Forza Motorsport 6. How you doing today, John?
Doing pretty good, thanks.
So we just got to go hands-on with the first 2 hours of the game, and we got to go through the beginnings of career mode. Tell people what you guys are doing differently this year with the Forza career.
Well, we really wanted it to be an immersive experience, so being very clear on what to do next in the game and building on that kind of progression. And you get to come in and see some of our best stuff right up front. We lead you through these, share kind of these stories of motorsport that they're called. So a lot of people have understanding of history of racing and cars, but some people don't, but they still love cars. So we have guest personalities come in and put some context to some of these events and these matchups. Why is this matchup significant historically or between these OEMs or something like that? And why is it fun and interesting? And then it makes people appreciate it a little bit more, and you learn a little bit more about it. And again, it's about bringing gaming and automotive cultures together and turning gamers into car lovers and car lovers into gamers. And I think people are really going to appreciate that as they experience the career.
Very cool. Now, I kind of agree with you. It's interesting. There's always been kind of a divide, I guess, between gamers and car lovers, and you guys are really trying to kind of tear those walls down and like let people know that it's not as intimidating as it might seem to become interested in cars, and vice versa for car people trying to get into games. What has been like the biggest challenge of that?
Well, we believe at their core, most people love cars, and it's really just about unlocking that. And at its core, most people love gaming as well. I mean, gaming is a huge trend. You've heard this term, gamification of the world, right? Everything's turning into a game in some way or another. So we're working it actually from both sides, is not only just trying how to get gamers to care about cars, but how to get car people to care about gaming as it's working its way into popular culture. So even when we're talking with OEM partners and things like that, they're starting to see us now as a way to lead them in this charge as you're able to interact with your car in a lot of new ways with technology and things like that. So really just stoking that passion that we believe is already there in most people.
Awesome. Now, of course, it's not just the career mode, it's also the multiplayer aspects of Forza. What are you guys doing with multiplayer this year, this go around?
We're up to 24 cars on track for multiplayer races now, so that's going to be a huge difference. It's just crazy with that many cars on track. You've always got a battle, you're always around. And when we talk to multiplayers, that's really what they care about most, actually. Less than winning, it's more about just having great wheel-to-wheel battles with their friends that they can talk about. And now with this many cars on track, there's that much more opportunity for it. We've also introduced a new feature called Leagues, Forza Race Leagues, that is a tiered league system that people can come in and find great multiplayer matchups with people of similar skill and temperament to have great experience online.
Now, what's cool is that you guys have done a lot of research into the differences between people who like to play career and people who like to play multiplayer and the other aspects of Forza. And you guys have had some interesting discoveries. Tell us what you find in terms of tendencies from people who like to play career mode only.
Well, the people that play career mode primarily are the biggest group of our audience for sure. They just want to come in and lose themselves in this experience. And we've keyed up a lot of features for them. This lore, stories of motorsport was really part of that, having this progression that moves you through the game, seeing this great content, being rewarded for it along the way, new prize spinners, things like that. The career player really just loves to get lost in the experience, be rewarded, and loves winning. So giving them the right tools and flow through the game so that they can win and have a great time and be rewarded for their accomplishments.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy winning. I may T-bone a couple of computer players or drivatars here or there to kind of get into the lead. But it's a different culture when you get online, when you play multiplayer, and that's what you guys have found, correct?
Yeah, that's very true. Career players tend to win by any means necessary because they know they're not playing against real people at that moment. They're drivatars. So yeah, they'll cheat, they'll cut, they'll T-bone, they'll do whatever it takes to win, basically. So their drivatar behavior learns that, and it tends to act that way. Multiplayer, since they're playing against their friends typically and other people online, there's more of a gentleman's rule about the racing, and it tends to be a lot cleaner, and their drivatars tend to be a lot cleaner. So it can create some challenging situations when those two come together, like when a multiplayer plays in the career, for example, and he's like, oh, these drivatars are smashing into me, or when a career player plays online, he tends to get a bit ridiculed at first because if he starts driving like that online, people are not going to stand for it very long. So we have added some ability to people to tune the drivatar aggression, basically. It was very clear that people felt, especially multiplayer racers that were playing in career, felt like a lot of the career player drivatars were just too aggressive, and we've given them the option to be able to tune that aggression now as well.
Yeah, because in multiplayer, it's almost kind of like almost like car clubs in real life, right? Everybody kind of gets together and has like just a good time, and it's kind of trying to enjoy the race more than actually just trying to beat each other up online, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Multiplayer, when we did a lot of our customer research, part of that actually surprised us. We thought those guys would be the ones most concerned about winning. We thought it was more like the World Series of Poker. It turns out it's more like the poker that you have at your friend's house on a weekend night, just drinking beer and having fun. You really don't care who wins, and you're just there to have a great time. That's more about how the multiplayers act.
So for folks out there who might be a little intimidated by the thought of multiplayer, especially if you play shooters or any other online games, Forza, it's a little more chill, a little more welcoming.
A little bit more welcoming with your friends, but also with leagues, you're going to be more likely to get in there with people of similar skill and temperament. One of the biggest challenges that happens in other game genres and even racing games is when players of vastly different experience levels get into a multiplayer match together. And there's usually a very clear winner, and then people that feel very frustrated because they had no chance of winning. Leagues is one of our ways to try to address that.
Awesome. Now, of course, going back to you mentioned being able to tweak the drivatars in career. You guys, of course, known for so many different options when you're in terms of the guideline or braking systems or whatever. However you want to play, you can really customize the experience down to the T with you guys. Can you tell us a little bit more with the customization of what you guys are allowing with Forza 6?
Well, we have the assist menu, as you talked about, that allow you to control the car in a lot of different ways, makes it very approachable all the way up to the deepest simulator on the market, really. There's the drivatar difficulty level as well as what we mentioned about this aggression level. But we've also introduced a new feature called mods, which are kind of a gaming mechanic that allow you to do a variety of things to alter your game experience. There's crew mods that allow you to gain a performance advantage. There's dare mods that make it a little bit more difficult, like maybe starting at the back of the grid, but if you do well, it's a higher payout in career and things like that. So adds a whole other layer of complexity and kind of enjoyment to that career player. In many ways, it's almost like an assist system that is set up to either help you do better or challenge you to do better.
Now, it's also obviously talking about customization. It's not just about the play experience; it's about the cars themselves. Tell us about what you guys are going to be doing with how people can acquire cars and how they can customize them.
Sure. Well, with Forza 6, we have over 460 what we call Forza Vista cars, which means they're fully explorable, working cockpits, opening doors, hoods, those kind of things, but also fully customizable for all of those. So all these cars will have a vast array of part kits available for them, wheels, and then, of course, the paint jobs that you can do to them as well. And the paint editor is a very powerful tool. Not everybody can create these mind-blowing paint jobs that you see the best painters in our community do. So when you buy a car in our game, the first thing we do is we curate or we serve up to you the best paint jobs for that car in the community, basically. And your first option is to pick those, and they're free. They don't cost credits or anything. And there are leaderboards, because while we talk about competitive gaming types, there's competitive drivers, but there's also competitive painters and tuners that want to be at the top. Top-ranked painters and tuners as well, and the more that their paint jobs are getting used or their tuning setups are getting used, they rise up those leaderboards as well. So it's a win-win for all player types.
I got to play a race in the rain, and there's puddles everywhere now, and I'm swerving all over the road, and hydroplaning, and that definitely adds a whole new level to the experience playing in the different weathers. Tell us about the difficulty in tuning, tracks versus clear weather and rain, and why how the rain could affect a race.
Rain was really challenging for us to pull off. Our players have been asking for it for a long time. We're super thrilled to actually finally bring it to them, but in the Forza way. We didn't want to just add rain. We knew our players had a certain expectation of rain in Forza, and we feel like we've pulled it off. And that meant it not only had to look amazing, it had to drive like it would in the real world. So fully simulated 3D puddles that you can hydroplane across over 150 different surfaces that can get wet and have different levels of friction, basically, depending on how wet they are. So everything from a concrete patch to an asphalt to the sealer that runs in between will all have different surface properties based on how they absorb water and what sort of traction they provide when they're wet. Combined with the spray and 24 cars on track, it was really, we don't think of it as a collection of features. What we wanted was to capture what it's like to race in the rain, which is an incredibly tense, scary, oftentimes experience when your vision is obscured with the spray of all the other cars. You can't quite tell when they're braking, and then you're basically along for the ride when you go through one of these puddles at speed and learning how to manage these puddles at speed. Do you avoid it? Do you hang two wheels in it? Do you try to go straight through it? What happens when you're turning? Those kind of things. And we're already seeing some of the Drivatars actually struggling with some of this, because everybody that had a Drivatar in Forza 5 and in Horizon 2 is coming in and doesn't know how to deal with a puddle like that. And until their players come into Forza 6 and start teaching it how to deal with puddles, then we'll see them improve dramatically.
Now, one of the complaints, I guess, of Forza 5 was the economy system. Can you tell us what you guys have done to change that this go-around for players?
Well, we made a lot of improvements even to Forza 5. The feedback was heard loud and clear, and we altered the economy. Changed a lot of things to address a lot of that feedback. We gave away free content, a lot of gifting, those kind of things. But we've really rethought that from the ground up for Forza 6. Microtransactions are not part of the game at launch, and we've introduced new things like the mods that allow you to level up and gain credits quicker. There's a new prize spinner that we've pulled over from Forza Horizon 2, and we've continued to improve that again is going to allow people to experience content and credits in the game quicker. And then, of course, the Forza faithful, people that have played Forza 5 or Horizon 2 or even Forza 4 that are going to get rewards the first time they boot up Forza 6. Great group of cars in their garage, great amount of credits the first time that they boot up the game as well. So there's a lot of ways to come in and just have fun and get what you need in the game.
Awesome, John. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Forza Motorsport 6 drops on Xbox One exclusively on September the 15th. Until next time, as always, I'm Ray Carcillo.